What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome back to On the Warpath, y'all. It's Wednesday, Chain of Command. Y'all know how we do, but if you're new to the channel, make sure you slap that subscribe button or punch it or whatever we want to do there. Punch that subscribe button, hit the likes, and get it on up, share it on out, because you know what we do here. We talk Washington Commanders all the time, and I had to go out and find one of the funniest guys in the content creator game here as far as our Commanders go. Y'all know him. Y'all see him on the Burgundy Zone. I know we said we're going to have two, but we had one mic. Two mics are great, but one mic is just as good. As I bring you on with Mike Reed. What's up, Reed? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. It feels weird. I feel like I'm like Juan Soto or something. Like I just got selected just because it's sent out here to the All-Star game. And here I am winning the goddamn home run derby. You know?
Well, I would charter a flight for you. I definitely, I would, and I'd start the Brinks truck, half a Billy, all this stuff. But man, what you thought? I know you're a big Nats fan. Even before we get into Commanders talk, what you been thinking about all this stuff?
Right now, I'm trying to get my camera straight. It's a little hard when it's sideways. But no, man, it's ridiculous. It's one of those things where it's like it just has so many feelings of the Bryce Harper situation where it's like he just won the home run derby. There's all this talk about it being his last year in DC, and then a report came out today saying that the Nats they were so frustrated with him not accepting the offer that they didn't even fly him out to LA for the home run derby and the All-Star game. He had to take a flight out there, just regular economy class, like a peasant. And that's just a slap in the face, isn't it? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, that's a rough one, but it's always funny because the Commanders get poked fun at a lot because they always seem to fumble through contract negotiations and everything. But look what happened. Terry McLaurin got his deal done and everything. And see, we always segue on here. It's a great thing. I always know how to segue stuff. Terry McLaurin, he finally got to let what's remaining of his hair down. TMZ reported that he was out here partying in Miami and really wasn't even doing anything too. He was, I think, a makeshift helicopter, just having a good old time. I don't know, being a 26-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I love it. First of all, Terry's never been one. I mean, at least out in like the DC area, I've never heard or seen Terry out anywhere doing anything like this. So, hey, shout out to him, man. He's got to enjoy it. It seems like he's somebody he's very mature, obviously, when he came into the league. He was a bit older. He's older than some of these other receivers like Debo and DK and AJ Brown. So I think he's a little bit more mature, but man, he's still allowed to celebrate. He's still allowed to go out there and have fun. I have no issue with it. I mean, it is what it is, man. Let the guy enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought this was a non-issue, although it always seems like in our market, and I'm not talking about the media, I'm talking about fans a lot of times too, will make a big deal about this. I'm like, it's his last hurrah before he gets ready to go out here and be about the business. And I think everybody deserves the right to party and celebrate every once in a while. And you know how we party on here. We go through our comments. We give people shout outs here. What's up, Freddie Lee? That's right, man. Hawk TV up in the house. The old curmudgeon himself, DC Bay. Probably he's a big Swisher Swisher Sweet fan, so that's what he smokes on a lot. So go in the old Phillies. Get that man that $5 million. We're gonna give Mike the $500 million contract.
That's fine with me. I'll do it. I'll take it. I mean,
back up the Brinks truck for you.
Yeah.
What's up, sis? My sis, she was actually down there with my other sister. They were down in Dallas. What's up, Rock Man? How you feeling? Brandon up in the house. What's good? And he said, hail to the Commanders. And franchise Sanchez, what's up? I don't know about the franchise, but Sanchez, we just, everything's up. The rent, that's all I can say.
You're a lot more of the franchise than the last Sanchez. I will say that. Than Mark Sanchez.
I've ran into a couple of butts in my lifetime, but never a 350-pound man's butt. So, wait a minute. This is the wrong.
This is the 250.
Yeah, it's how we got subpoenaed last time. So
love subpoenas.
Y'all have to go check out Friday's show from the Burgundy Zone and just watch the whole thing until the end. You get a good treat at the end of it. So
it sucks to have to explain to people. They're like, well, when's some of the funny content? I'm like, it's all the way the last 3 minutes. I'm like, just skip through though. Like, don't
you always got it. Yeah. You always have it, man. But I tell you that, how excited are you for just to done prognosticating? We finally get to see our boys returning. I mean, less than 2 weeks. Well, it's going to be about 3 weeks before their first game on August 13th. But we'll be live and in person August 6th up there at FedEx Field. Just tell me about your excitement looking into the season.
So first of all, just as like a podcast host and as somebody who talks about the Commanders twice a week, I'm just excited to finally have some new content. I've been asking the same questions to guests for the last 3 months. After the draft, it was all just downhill from there. There was a few new things sprinkled in there, and then it got to Terry. Now that's out of the way, thank God. But I'm so excited, man. I'm really excited to see how this team is put together and kind of where their strengths are. I know just talking to people like my best friend Logan Paulson, who's been so high on like the tight end group in particular and some of these undrafted guys. I'm really excited to see what Cole Turner can bring. I think that if you look at the history of tight ends over the last 10 years or so, when you get these guys in the mid to late rounds and they have these very special niche playing styles, I think that if you can use them, if you can find a way to use somebody who's as athletic as Cole Turner, I mean, then maybe you can hit and get a complete home run. I mean, look, I'm not saying he's going to be Travis Kelce or George Kittle, obviously, but I mean, those guys were picked around the same area. I mean, they're mid-round draft picks. They end up panning out. So I'm just hoping that we can finally get somebody like that. You know, I mean, obviously I love Logan Thomas, but I'm very excited to see this group of pass catchers. I honestly think that the offense might be more impressive than the defense at this point from everything I'm hearing. And it's first time in a while since a Kirk Cousins led team we've had that. So I'm excited to see some offense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, I don't want to talk about Kirk family member too much because I just earlier today I watched the Giants game. It was the winning end game, and he throws that pick to Antonio Cromartie. I'm like,
that was such a classic Kirk move, though.
I mean, yeah, you keep on cousining, right? That was kissing cousins right there.
Yeah, we've all got one of those. Though,
right? Well, you gotta go to that other side. You gotta go to that West Virginia side. No hate to anybody up there in West Virginia. But you kind of mentioned, you talk about the tight ends, and I really think that this is as far as the position group goes. And then I kind of drill down with you here in a little bit on it. But I think this is this team's best kept secret is the tight end position. You look at Johnny Bates. I mean, I love this guy coming out of college, out of Boise State. When I read it, when I was going through his profile and looking at some of his stuff, I said, I love this guy and what he's capable of doing. He was a track athlete. He's not the fleet of foot, but he can catch anything around in his radius. And we saw that on display a couple of times. You bring in Cole Turner, and he's not as fleet as foot, but he did play wide receiver at Nevada, however you want to say it. But big body guy. I don't think he's going to get taken out by a cameraman like Pretty Ricky Seals-Jones. You know, and we've got one of our favorites, AGA. AGG is going to be playing tight end, doing his best Niles Paul.
If they can figure out a way to have him solve a Rubik's Cube while he's playing tight end, then I think maybe he'll be good. But until then,
what's going to be more complicated for him to solve, the Rubik's Cube or getting on the field?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Probably getting on the field. Apparently, he can do a Rubik's Cube like in the blink of an eye. But
yeah, he did. And you know, I feel like, and I've said this multiple times, you know, kind of the re-rinsing of everything during the offseason. I felt like they like him so much, they did this move to save him.
Right.
And that's it. That's where and you know, you never necessarily don't want to do a move to save somebody. Now, that could have been the same thing what the Shanahans did with Niles Paul. We saw how that worked out for our guy. They moved, but it was year 2. This is year 3, and he's been cut off the team. So it's a little different in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, tight end, do you have any other like position groups you think, hey, this is this team's best kept secret, or is it with the tight ends?
Well, so obviously, yeah. I mean, really, the pass catchers as a whole. Obviously, I think when you look at wide receiver, especially if Curtis can stay healthy, I think we're all kind of expecting big things from Jahan. I think we're all going to be very surprised with what we see from him at camp, even though we have high expectations going into it. But yeah, I mean, I still think that this O-line, despite losing Brandon Sheriff, I still think that what they did, who they brought in, I mean, losing Flowers, losing Sheriff, that's huge. I mean, you can't really replace those guys. But then bringing in Andrew Norwell, Trey Turner, Wes Schweitzer was already fantastic. This may be, I mean, just as deep. Like, I don't want to say that either of those guys are a Brandon Sheriff type player, because Sheriff's one of the best guards in the league. But when it comes to just a solid all-around unit, I'm really excited for that right guard position for the battle of that at camp. And I really think that this O-line, man, people sleep on it. People still around the NFL, they really do. I know PFF had them ranked 6th overall in all of the league last year, and I think that they should continue that. I think they should be about the same. I've seen people list O-line as a weakness of ours, and I just don't see that being the case. Like we have so much depth. I mean, we still have, obviously, Charles Leno was fantastic last year. Sam Cosby's was very good as well. We expect him to take a jump. And then you look at some of our backups that we have. I mean, look, Sadiq Charles is still a player who's very talented in this league, and people are still very high on him. And he's often the forgotten about guy when it comes to that offensive line. So I think that just kind of shows how much depth that we have there. And I'm excited. Obviously, running back is another one that I think should be much improved. I mean, Brian, what's his face from Alabama?
Oh yeah, Big Robinson.
Brian Robinson.
Oh, Robinson. Yeah, bro.
I love him in that Peyton Barber style role, and I really think that he's somebody who's going to take into the carries of Antonio Gibson, but he's not going to affect his production. If you know, I think it's going to end up being one of those things where it benefits Antonio Gibson in the long run because he's going to stay fresh. He's not going to be pounding the rock and put in situations that he struggles in, like those short yardage situations. And I'm very excited, man. I'm just excited for this offense for the first time in a long time. And I know a lot's riding on Carson Wentz, but you got to feel good right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Going back to your point about the offensive line, as long as John Matsko and or Travell Wharton are still the guys pulling the strings with this offensive line, I'm not concerned one bit. This was a team, we forget, this team was down to its 5th center last year during a 4-game winning streak, but people don't see. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir right here with us, but it feels like, I always feel like the media, if you have an opportunity to disrespect the Commanders, let's go and disrespect them.
Right.
And they will jump on it in a minute. And even to your point about this running back room, I really want to see running back Antonio Gibson. And people be like, well, Corey, what do you mean? Like running back? I want him carrying that ball high and tight. But I also believe with Brian Robinson here now, addition by subtraction, I think you make him instantly better because you take the carries off of him. And I know I've said that to you guys before, but like I don't think people realize this isn't a guy that needs the ball 32 times a game. He doesn't need it.
I think it's honestly kind of a detriment to him. If you really look at him, just the more carries he gets, the more chances. I know fumbles were not an issue before last season, but after last season that they have become an issue, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, you're right. He's somebody who's explosive. He's somebody who kind of seems like he's going to work best in a 1-2 punch committee, but it doesn't even really have to be that. Because I mean, McKissick's going to get his share, he's going to get his snaps, and then just adding Brian Robinson on top of that, I think will really just ultimately benefit him. Like we said, it's almost like that Lendale White, Reggie Bush type syndrome where it's like the thunder and the lightning, and he gets to kind of be that in between, because we have a thunder and lightning now, and he gets to kind of just be that big play, come in there, be healthy, have all of his stamina, and just go in there and go to work. And I love that for him. I think, shout out to his family. I think this is going to work out for him.
I think best 1-2 punch and running back we probably had since what?
Clinton Portis,
Betts, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Betts and Portis, I think, and I think Betts was very underrated for what he did, and as long as he was here in Washington,
right?
So yeah, I think Brian Robinson, he's going to help this boy. He's going to help Antonio Gibson out, and I think we talk about the coaching. One thing Randy Jordan does. Randy Jordan was a dual threat back. in the pros. He had the first touchdown in Jacksonville Jaguar history. That was Mark Brunell ripping one to him, and not handing it off, but throwing it to him. So he every time, if we have a guy who's a dual threat, look what he got out of Chris Thompson. I think he can still get that out of over that production with Antonio Gibson. And Brian Robinson, I think he's going to make him a threat out of the backfield, even though he a passing threat. I think when they work with him on that, that's not his forte, but I think he can go up there and sneak up on him and be like, oh, wow. We didn't know Robinson was this guy.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. And for some reason, when we started talking about Clint Portis and Liddell Betts, it reminded me. Remember all the random big name running backs that we signed at the end of their careers, like Larry Johnson, Sean Alexander, Willie Parker, and then who was the other? There was T.J. Duckett.
Yep.
T.J. Duckett from the Falcons.
Remember they traded for Duckett too, right?
Did we trade for Duckett?
Gibson and traded for Duckett in 2006. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure you're right. But it's just so funny thinking back to all these big name backs. Like if you think of Sean Alexander, Larry Johnson in his prime, and Willie Parker even was a beast for a while. But then they were the Redskins at one point. They were on that backfield, and it's just so funny.
I'll never forget Trunk Candidate coming in here and stealing money.
Anytime there is a name a random running back in the NFL and NFL history, I always put Trunk Candidate down.
Yes.
And everybody's always like, dude, great find. I'm like, how can you guys not remember him just because of the cool ass name?
Yeah. Kenny Watson. I remember Kenny Watson was here. Who else? We had Evan Royster back in Shanahan's day.
Evan Royster, Roy Halou.
I loved Roy Halou. I thought that because he was in that mold of a pass catching back, but it just didn't work out here.
I'll never forget his hurdle against Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah, that was exciting.
And then didn't he have a big touchdown run against Chicago back in 2013?
I think so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Chicago. Yeah. They were fun to watch, man. I remember before Evan Royster came out, he was supposed to be like for a couple years, he was like the guy in college football. It was like, watch out for Evan Royster, man. This guy comes out, and then he came to the league, and it was just kind of like, well,
He scored a touchdown in that playoff game against Seattle. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. That's just funny, man. We've had some crazy running backs.
Him and your cousin Logan Paulson, I think. Logan had a touchdown in that game too, if I'm not mistaken.
But I don't think Logan ever caught a pass, ever, with the Washington. I'm just kidding. No, I always think about that reception that he had on that RG3 play against the Giants, where RG3 was scrambling around, and it was on fourth, and was hit and was falling to his knees and found Logan Paulson. And I'll bring that up to him all the time, and just be like, "This is what I remember you for. This is it."
I remember I think his first career touchdown might have been that rain game against Tampa Bay in 2010.
Okay.
When McNabb had, I think that may have been, I know that was one of his first ones. I think he got a touchdown in. So, it's weird how we remember these random ass players over the years.
I know.
It's just crazy.
And then one of them crept back into my life and became my best friend in the entire world, to the point that I'm naming my child after him, regardless of gender. So.
Paulson. You can call Paulson. Yeah,
but Paulson Reed.
I mean, but in all seriousness, that man, he's an underrated genius. People don't see, we don't realize the gift we have. If one of these big name TV stations got him in there, he's going to be educating people.
That's something that I was saying. As soon as I heard him on 106.7, because he used to do a bit on there, I was like, this guy, man, Logan's smart. He knows what he's talking. And then just talking to him off air and having him on the show a bunch, whoever ends up getting him, because somebody's going to. He's on too many things now. He's starting to blow up, and nobody deserves it more. He is incredibly smart. He knows what he's talking about. He's very personable, and it's crazy because you didn't really have a chance to show that throughout his career. I mean, he was never really interviewed like that, but that dude is a genius, and he's going to blow up soon. I would not doubt it at all.
He's super smart. Shout out to Coach Gibbs. So I kind of asked you this already about the underratedness, so I'll ask you this: what position group is under the most pressure to succeed?
Well, I mean, I think there's two that I can think of, but they're kind of related to each other. So I'm going to go with the edge rushing position. Obviously, I mean, look, Carson Wentz, I think that's kind of the obvious answer. That's the easy one. But if you look at what Montez Sweat and Chase Young did 2 years ago, and you think about their potential and how dominant they can be, and then you look at what they did last year, and I know that it was a freak year. Chase finally started to come on before his injury. Even though he wasn't getting the sack numbers, he seemed like he was finally starting to figure it out. And then that injury was devastating. I think they still have a lot to prove, and it's gonna be hard for Chase because, look, as talented as I think Chase is, I think that him having to miss this much time when his issues seem to be fundamentals and technique, and then he has to miss this much time, it's either going to be a detriment or it's going to be something that helps him because he can stay and he can work on that with Von Miller like he's been doing, or it's something that he's going to need to get out there and just get playing time so we can get used to it, and he can't do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chase struggles a little bit out of the gate, but ultimately I think him and Montez are just too talented. I think that they will figure it out. I think that they both work hard. But then the other one, which kind of relates to the edge defender, the pass rushing position, is cornerback. Just because I love what William Jackson did the second half of the year. I love what Kendall Fuller did all year. I love Benjamin St. Juste. I love what they're trying to do with them. But anytime your pass defense is rated where it was, that's got to be a question mark. So I think that they still do have a lot to prove to the NFL, and they didn't bring anybody in really. So I mean, they're pretty set. They think that they believe in these guys, and I think that they should. But they got a lot to prove.
Yeah, and I guess from we're all observers there, so we're not inside on top. The way the defense struggled last year, are you surprised that there weren't any major overhauls during the offseason? And I don't want you to name anybody, but like when you look at it, were you kind of surprised, was there some places? There's one position group in particular, I think that I kind of was like, you got to change this for the grand scheme. But so were you shocked?
To an extent, yeah. Like I said, I do think a lot of it last year was kind of the schedule, kind of facing that murderer's row of quarterbacks. But I do think that they will be okay, and I do think that this shows that they have a lot of faith in the group that they have, and especially the young guys. I think that they're very high on them, and they do believe in them, and this could be a good thing. That they got battle tested last year. Now they get to come in there and really prove against what should be a weaker schedule. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, you look at like linebacker in particular, and you still think, why don't they bring somebody in? I mean, at least a veteran. But I think that they really want to give Jamin and Cole a chance to kind of shine out and show what they can do, and they are. That is, I think, the correct way to do it. You do want to get your young guys as much playing time as possible. I mean, Rivera said Jamin Davis, his big thing is going to be repetitions and getting in there and just getting playing experience. So I think that that's what they're trying to do. There's still rumors that they may add somebody, but anytime your defense fails the way that it did, and it did fail last year, I mean, they were supposed to be so good and they weren't. I think that not bringing in really anybody at all, any new starters, is definitely kind of a head scratcher, but hey, like I said, I think that they really just believe in the guys that they have.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I understand it because you invest a lot in these guys, especially through the draft process, and then whoever you got through free agency. I just, at the end of the day, especially this year, we gave you some wiggle room. Like there were clearly some things that should have been corrected that weren't corrected. Hopefully this year they are, because I think, as when you look at it from the fans, and we can be irrational, right? But I think from the fans' perspective, and I think even some in the media are like, we're kind of, they're drawing a line in the sand with this, and they don't want to hear excuses. They want to see results. They want to see results. And I think it's a result-oriented league, right? It doesn't matter. We're not in baseball, right? So nobody's getting half a billy for their good deeds that they do. So ain't got to worry about that. Right. But who, and kind of as we reset here real quick, what's up, Marcus Door Gunner? How you doing, brother? Who do you think? I'll give me two, I guess, offense and defense. Give me your breakout guys. Who is going to break out? This guy that we didn't even see him coming. Who do you think is going to break out for the team? Let's start on offense.
Okay, so on offense, this one's kind of tricky because I think that there's a couple of obvious answers.
Mhm.
But I'll go with somebody that I just think is he based off of what he's shown last year, and I mean just the position that he's in. I think John Bates is going to have a fantastic beginning of the season. I mean, look, everybody's talking about Cole Turner, and I understand that Cole Turner's been very explosive. He's been very fun to watch, and he's somebody who I think he should be fantastic in the position that he's playing. But if you just want like a normal inline tight end, somebody that's going to be in there every down because he's going to block, he's going to be in there in the ground game, in the passing game, he's going to leak out for receptions. I think John Bates, you really can't count out what he did last year. And Carson Wentz loves his tight ends. I think that's really no secret. And he should get the first shot at it with Logan. We don't know when Logan's coming back yet. So I think if he can develop some chemistry early with Carson Wentz, I really like what John Bates is set up to do early on this season.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, you want me to go defense next?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go defense.
Okay. So this one might be the one person that we did bring in, and it's because I think he's going to get a shot early. David Bada. I think that Bada is an athletic freak of nature. He is somebody that really last year people don't really realize what he did last year on Carolina. I mean, he had a pretty good amount of sacks in a kind of limited role. And I think if you can get him in there and he wins that starting job while Chase is out, and then as Chase slowly comes back, I think he's somebody that's going to do very well with, I mean, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat kind of demanding the offense's attention. I think he's somebody who can go in there and he can be solid. Then I really like that 3-man rotation that you have at defensive end.
Okay. Then I think on offense, I'll go with a rookie from last year too. So guy coming in second seed. Because you took my boy John Bates. I think De'Ami Brown, man.
Yeah, people are sleeping on him.
Blazing speed that he has in the opportunities that he had with Taylor are going to be very different than what he has with Carson. Because Taylor, he's going to throw balls behind you and beside you.
Right.
Carson's going to throw him ahead of you. And I think the one thing, just get him out there, run some 9 routes, run some deep posts with them, run a corner route. Just like go out there and let him stretch the field, stretch the defenders, cut through the heart of them. Like, I mean, seriously, just take the knife out, stab him, and see what happens with it. I think he can. This is a guy that I'm talking about can be a 505 guy. Like he can be 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. Heck, since we got the extra game now, let's go with. Oh Lord, have mercy. We love the spam here. Great day.
Whoa, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Love that.
I think that's Reed on his burner account there.
That is 100% man. Got to get them views up.
Yeah. But blazing speed, what he did. I mean, you can't teach in college 20 yards per reception.
Right.
Like you can't do that. So I like him on the offensive side of the ball. I think he's going to break out while we're talking about Terry, Curtis Samuel, and all these other cats. I think De'Ami is going to be the guy who's like a lot of people, because people, believe it or not, some people are labeling him as a bust already. I'm like,
I know.
And that's not right to him. And then it makes me question how you evaluate and stuff.
Right.
But that's just how it is. And, I still think Jahan is going to make a big thumbprint. And I was way off based on him, I thought, coming out. So, hey, it is what it is. But on defense, I think if he is played correctly, that's a big, big if. If he's played correctly, Jamin Davis will be your breakout guy. He's got all the skills. He's got the physicality. He's got the speed. I've had a couple of folks on here said, I think maybe been Paulie who said this, play him like they're playing homeboy in Dallas. Like just do the same thing. Just play him. Put his hand in the ground on pass rushing situations. Have him out there. Rush him. Like use him as a tool because he's got the physical attributes.
Right.
And why did you draft this guy if you're not going to use him to squeeze the orange?
Right.
Get your juice out of the squeeze on that one.
I would completely agree with that. And the other thing with Jamin is I've heard a couple of people say that I know there's no pad, there hasn't been any pads yet, but the way that he seems to be reacting has seemed so much more natural this offseason than it did at any point last year. At any point last year, it was like he was trying to read, he was trying to figure it out, make sure he was thinking too much. This season so far, at least, I mean, I know a lot still has to happen, but I've been hearing that he does seem to be flying to the ball a lot easier, and it seems more instinctual. Now, of course, that all depends on how he's used. You're right, if they do use him in that manner, but I think that, just letting the guy play football, I think, is the best possible thing, and moving him out of that inside linebacker position should work wonders for this kid, because you're right, he's a freak of nature if you really just break down his athletic stats.
Yeah, you got to go out there. I mean, he went toe to toe with the tight end out of Florida, went to Atlanta.
Right.
I can't think of his name. Y'all give me his name. What's his name? I can't think of him. Number 8.
What's up, Sid?
Who the tight end Atlanta drafted out of Florida?
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
He
Dude, he locked him up.
Yeah, he locked him up.
Yeah.
Go back and look at it. When Kyle Pitts took advantage of Kentucky's defense, Jamin wasn't on the field.
Right. Yeah. That's something that gets overlooked a lot. So I mean, if you can have Jamin, I mean, Kyle brought something up, and I think it's interesting. I don't think it'll happen, but like if things don't really pan out for Jamin at the at linebacker, what about maybe putting him in Buffalo and letting him kind of line up against the tight ends and coming up and playing the run when he needs to? I think that would be something that's interesting. I don't think that'll happen. I mean, maybe some packages, but yeah, I mean, his coverage is very underrated, and he should have shown that more last year. And I think this year, again, being more fluid and less thinking should only help him out.
I think, and even on that defensive side of the ball too, I think what you need to do, if you can, find you another free. I would say move Kendall to free and bring Bobby McCain in the slot. Let him work, because that's where he's best. That's where he's best at. And Kendall's getting it. I mean, he's good, but I think he would be better served if you as a free safety rather than your corner, outside or in the slot. I just think that the free safety, he can roam. He's got that coverage. So
yeah, Kendall's kind of odd because his entire career he was known as playing better inside in the slot. And then last year it was like night and day. It was like in the slot he was not effective. On the outside, he was fantastic. So I think you're right. I mean, he is getting up there. Maybe the physicality of being inside is a little too much for him at times now. But yeah, I mean, we've seen plenty of corners switch to free safety and prolong their career. So he's got the coverage skills. He's got the athleticism. I think that'd be very interesting. Plus, he's excelled there at times with the Chiefs. I mean, I think it would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Mike Evans is paying child support though to his mama after what he did in the playoff game. I say that because Mike Evans. A lot of people on this channel know that Mike Evans is my favorite wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, dude, he's so underrated.
I love Mike Evans. Like he is like he's my Marcus Colston. I'll never forget going off the beaten path here. But in 2006, the first time I ever drafted, did fantasy, and they had a tight end listed on Yahoo for this guy Marcus Colston. I was like, tight end, and then Marcus Colston was still listed as tight end, but he was a wide receiver, so he's just in there eating the whole time. Right. So I always find these big physical guys who just get the job done, and I like. And he is what after Marcus Colston kind of retired, Mike Evans has become my guy, and dude, that is he is a beast. And
he is, man. And it's crazy too how similar he was to Vincent Jackson when he was coming out. And of course they both played for for the Bucks. But like Mike Evans, every year that dude is like, I'm so happy that he got Tom Brady because that's kind of made people appreciate what he's done more. But like every year he's been doing this. Like this is nothing new. Like he's always been dominant, and people never used to mention him among the elite wide receivers in the NFL.
No, but then he's got the guy throwing it to him. It's kind of funny. When you get a competent quarterback, you actually get mentioned. I'm not.
Yeah, no, who would have thought that?
It's none of my business, though. But what's up, Alex Wilson? Appreciate you for the super chat, $5. I feel like LBs and cornerbacks will be the Achilles heel of this team. I can see Lawrence in the first game throwing 3 touchdowns. I'm so worried about that.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I know that I still think that we should win week 1 against Jacksonville, obviously. I mean, But people are sleeping on the Jaguars, dude. I mean, look, I know that they didn't go out. They didn't get the sexiest acquisitions for Trevor Lawrence. I know Trevor Lawrence didn't play well last year. Trevor Lawrence also didn't have somebody who was fit to be a head coach. And if you really go back and watch his film, of course, he has boneheaded plays, but he also made some incredible throws and just some amazing plays off script. And now that he has somebody, Doug Peterson is the perfect coach for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's very similar to Carson Wentz was in 2017 in a way where he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's got a rocket arm. He's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. And they have a talented group of pass catchers and playmakers around him. I mean, they don't have any all-stars, but they got some very solid guys. I would not be surprised if the Jaguars are a lot better than people think next year. That said, I don't think they're going to beat us week 1.
I think, and to this point, he says he's going to be throwing 3 touchdowns. I'm okay with that because I think this year you have the offense that can supplement for 3 touchdowns. I think if he throws for 3 touchdowns, I think you can get 4. I think this, all right. Yeah, this team. I think this offense, if healthy, is good for 24, 25 points a game. Right. And the defense is just going to have to be. I don't need them to be the number 7th ranked defense. Right. I need them to be top 10 in turnovers. I need them to be top half of the league in sacks. That's what I need. And
if you look at them last year, I mean, even though we talked about kind of the murderer's row of quarterbacks and offenses that they faced, for many games last year, they were still like the defense was holding them there. The defense was doing what they could. It was just then the offense couldn't score. So I think you're 100% right. If they can be that defense again, which they should, and then the offense can actually put up some points or relieve some of that pressure, but don't break, I think this team's going to be fine.
Yeah. I think they'll be all right. Just bend, don't break, kind of in the essence of the Greg Williams days, right? They kind of bent, but they didn't break. But yeah, appreciate you, Alex. Good insight there.
And we should get Jack. Speaking of Greg Williams, we should get Jack Del Rio to pay the players to get into a dust up, not a fight, on the field.
I'm done with you.
Did you get that?
I'm done.
Remember that? That was so stupid of them.
I'm like, don't get us started. We are.
I like to just so you guys know that was a joke. I like to make fun of Jack Del Rio all the time. And I like him, but come on,
bite these like it's. Yeah, he's got that personality about him, old Jack. Some people call him Jackass Del Rio on here, so just like
I don't blame him,
But I think the funny thing about Jack is though, while I said you can't say stuff like that, right?
Right.
I think Jack Del Rio would probably call himself Jackass Del Rio too. That's right. I think that's kind of.
I think you're right about that.
When we were up there for OTAs. And just being around, I'm like, yeah, he's a jerk, but he's okay with being a jerk.
He's a very unaware person, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I guess.
He has an attentive obliviousness about him. So.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
It's oxymoron, but hey, so I was kind of doing some research. We do the we kind of run through everything, and it's betting season. Got some over-unders for you, and we're talking offensive side of the ball. And these are all presented by Fanatical Fights. You can kind of use contact clue who that is, but they don't sponsor this program, so I don't. I'm not going to say their names. But shout out to Juan Soto though for buying my lunch after hitting a 480-foot home run. Carson Wentz this year on Fanatical Fighters over under 21.5 touchdowns.
Oh, now look, I'm not much of a betting man after it ruined my family, but my beautiful fiance is a hell of a better. She bets all the time. And nobody in my family bet. I'm just kidding. We don't bet. But no, I'm going to say over, obviously. I mean, 21.5, what is it? So over his career, he's averaged, 26 touchdowns, I believe, per season, and under 10, but it's like something like in 5 of his 7 years or something. He's thrown 7 interceptions exactly.
Right.
I think you gotta go over, right? That's what that would be considered, the over 21.5. If you think he's going to throw 25, 26, that's what we're talking. Because I'm illiterate when it comes to betting.
Yeah. That's fine. It's fine. Hey, look, I'm just going over under. I ain't say it's at plus whatever or anything. So
I don't know that. I don't know.
See, I don't.
I would ruin my life if I started betting.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to Anna's life because. That's it. Shout out Roger. What's up?
By the way, accuracy, is that a kill shot? Look at that you got there.
That's accuracy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, hopefully this is last year with the team. Antonio Gibbs, I got 2 of them for you here. Rushing yards. I think they kind of disrespected him here. 825 and a half. So basically 826. Where are you leaning on that?
Well, this one's a little bit tough. No, it should be. I mean, if you just look at the history, that should be over, right?
Okay.
Right. That's the term. If they're going to be up above it, it's over. So
okay. I think we see a trend here. I think so. I know your.
I think we're being undersold a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. 6.5 touchdowns
for AG
on the ground now.
Oh, see that one though. I want to say that it'll be over, but at the same time, I could see Brian Robinson getting more or cutting into his touchdowns a little bit. He had 11 his rookie year. How many did he have last year?
On the ground, I think he had like 5, but we can definitely check.
Okay.
We can check that out here because, that's what we do. We do stats.
Right. You're the stats king.
Not me. That's somebody else. That's Nathan over there at
yeah. Okay.
At Ref the District. He had 7 rushing touchdowns last year.
Right.
That's definitely it's got to be over, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, it's just got to be, man. Yeah, it's got to be. Even with the touchdowns maybe being cut into a little bit by Robinson, should still be over.
Yeah, and this was him playing in 16 games last year. Well, he only played 14 the year before, so I mean, it was. I'd have to go.
Did he have 11 his rookie year?
He had 11 because he had like 4 against Dallas, so that kind of
it's
part
right.
of course. If you take, and I hate this comparison when people say, "Well, if you take away this one game, he actually just did this." Well, he did it, so it counts it. But
right.
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean? But if you take it away, he's still at 7, so I would say that's over. What's up, Corey Lott? What's up, Roger? I like how you spell that name too, Corey. Spelled the same way, bro. Let's see here. Now I thought this one was the most disrespectful one. Terry McLaurin, over under 1,000 receiving yards.
What kind of a question is this?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on.
There you go.
No. I mean, even his rookie year, he would have had over 1,000 yards if he played in every game. The last 2 years, he's had over 1,000 yards. And that was with about 38 different quarterbacks. So I think this year, now that a quarterback has an arm, I'm going to go, I'm going to think Terry's going to be over.
Now, you're not insinuating he didn't have an arm to begin with.
The
quarterback last year.
That's exactly what I'm saying. No, none of the 38 quarterbacks throwing the football had an arm. I mean, Dwayne had an arm. I'm not going to take that from him. But,
shout out to Home Depot there. And then they've got over under 8.5 wins. I'll go on this one. I think this is a 10-win. Yeah, if everything rolls correctly, this is a 10-win team.
Yeah. I completely agree. I would say that they could be 10, 11 wins if everything goes correctly because the way that the schedule's set up, they should start out fast. And as long as they stay healthy, I mean, that seems to be a trend every year, but especially I would think this year, if they can remain relatively healthy, there's no COVID scares like there was last year, no ridiculous injuries like there always seems to be. I think that this team could really surprise a lot of people and be a 10, 11 win team.
I think we'll see a difference this year because you actually have, and I've always thought about that, and I don't really mention it on here, but the fact that we didn't have a full-time athletic trainer.
Yeah, because wasn't ours in jail or something?
I think he was trying
being Walter White of the football world.
Yeah, we had old Heisenberg, so so now that we got a guy who's fully on the train there now. I think,
and who takes the drugs instead of sells them. I think now we're in a good. I'm just kidding. I don't know if he does that. Don't put that out there.
You don't test your own inventory.
Well, no,
this
you
is
have
live
to.
too. This is live too.
You should.
So you got,
if you could see my pupils right now, you guys would be like, oh, that makes sense.
he cuts a little bit off the top here. So getting ready, hitting towards the finish line here. I've got in honor of the great Kevin Sheehan, who always asks the question, the Commanders win if. So I've got about 3 of these for you. The Commanders win the NFC East if.
So I don't want to be this guy, but if, and we just talked about it, if they stay healthy and they get a little bit of help, the only reason I say that they get a little bit of help is because Dallas, we saw what they did last year. Obviously 2 years ago was kind of a fluke with them, I think, with as bad as they were. So they're still very talented and they have the same strength of schedule as we do. So I think if Dallas, maybe we get a little bit of luck with Dallas and Dallas maybe get some key injuries or something of the sort, or some players underperform, we should win regardless. I think we should be in contention for a wild card, but I think we could win the NFC East if we stay healthy and we get just a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's key now. Like it. And let me preface my statement, because I saw my favorite hater in the comments here. Let me preface my statement here. I think 10 is a ceiling for this team. I can see this team winning 6 games if everything goes 6 games.
Yeah,
like don't get it twisted like you always do. Don't get it twisted. I'm saying that I think on the positive side, 10. That's it. That's the positive side for me. I'm not even entertaining 11 just yet. That's just how I feel.
Right.
But anyway, so I think they gotta, like I said, turnovers. They've got to lead the league. They got to be in the top half in sacks. Defensively wise, Carson Wentz has to be healthy.
And he's got to perform.
Yeah, he's got to perform.
Right.
But I don't even think that was the biggest problem. Like people, they kind of go back to that Jacksonville loss.
Yeah.
If you look at it, that was a whole total team collapse.
That was a pathetic display. Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. Right. Yeah, that was a bad display by the whole team. It's not just Carson. Carson did not play well. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But that was a whole total team collapse.
Right.
And they even struggled at Indianapolis against Jacksonville. A lot of people don't realize that.
They struggled against Jacksonville for the last 3-4 years.
Yes.
I mean, that's something that Jim Irsay, I think that's part of the reason he got so pissed off at Carson and still talks about him regularly, is because of the whole Jaguars debacle, and he was the quarterback. But yeah, Carson, I think, aside from, what was it, the 2019 season where he really had his down year? Was that 2020, 2019?
Yeah.
Whichever season was just horribly bad. Yeah, you're right. He's been average at least for most of those years. I mean, there was, of course, he had 2017 where he was elite. But so I think you can expect, obviously, it should be better quarterback play than last year, regardless.
Okay, let's see here. Washington... Let me give you this one. Okay. Washington. Well, gosh, I ain't got one there. I think we kind of covered it right there. Like, it's a lot of control that goes on here. It's a lot of, I think, with any team, if you limit the distractions, you go out, because I think last year, the distraction train, uncontrollable distraction. You talk about with DeShazer, God rest his girlfriend's soul.
I mean, same with the Montez brother. That affected Montez Sweat.
Yeah, absolutely.
His brother, right?
Yeah, and he was already trying to come back anyway, from health wise, but then his brother passed away. I mean, so there's a lot of different things there that that just, is amalgamation of things towards the end of the season. And I think as far as like the offense goes, is this a do or die season for Scott Turner?
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I do really like what Scott Turner's done, and I do think he's been handcuffed to an extent. I mean, just to be honest with his quarterbacks, and But this season, I mean, that's not really an excuse in the NFL. I mean, this is what his third season with us, so he's got to kind of put up. I mean, now they invested a lot in this quarterback, the playmakers around him, so it's really no excuse at this point to be calling terrible plays inside the red zone. You know.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, he's great. He's good between the 20s.
Yep.
And I don't know. I always said that during that winning streak, those first 2 games that they won, they focus on running the ball. Monday night against the Seahawks, and maybe I just was like, I'm just like looking at this like, why? What's going on here? I felt like he was under the lights and he wanted to show off as an offensive, like an offensive genius.
It's funny you say that. I kind of got that feeling too. It was almost like he tried to get too cute or too sexy with it at times.
Yeah,
and, it was like, dude, just stick to what you've been doing. We've been playing well. It's gotten the job done.
Right.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, he was getting a little sexy there, and like, I like you, but you're not your father. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not that sexy. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't.
Not many people are.
Yeah.
Norv.
Oh, Norval. Well, he's got a whole bunch.
Norv.
And you got Ron too. His uncle Ron is out there too. So I mean,
hey.
Rivera or Turner doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which one. I'm sure he calls our Ron Papa, Uncle Ron.
Yeah, Unky Ron. Ron, can we do? That's why he got the contract extension. That's why Norv has been there. He had to negotiate the contract extension for him. So that Juan Soto. Don't call Scott Boras. Call Norv Turner. He'll get you a contract extension if you understand why.
Yeah, I don't think at this point, if those reports are true, he's going to want to stay anywhere near Washington.
That's true. I think that is a
shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. And then I always say, I feel like this is, we get ready to wrap up here too. I feel with that, it's time to just kind of cut the umbilical cord, see what you can get with it, and move on. Like, I mean, the learners, I mean, maybe he wants to see who's going to own the team after the learners, because we know it's inevitable. I mean, I was watching the draft video that they had for Elijah Green. And
by the way, love Elijah Green.
Yeah. Oh, big guy. They got the third baseman from Tennessee. It's part of that good baseball squad down there. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, the learners look like, I mean, Ted looked like he was ready to get just like, good job, Mike Rizzo. So
that whole thing, man, it's depressing. On the bright side, they should get some amazing prospects in return for somebody of a Juan Soto's caliber. I mean, you're talking like that could be right there a rebuild completely. Like you're going to get set up for the future for a long time with some of the players that you would get in that trade. But then again, it doesn't matter. As soon as we get them, just like trade them, after a few years, we're going to be like, all right, you're gone anyway too. You're going to cost too much. So, but it's depressing.
Yeah. You know what's depressing? People like this. These are the depressing people that we have. It's just depressing.
Oh my god.
Just like you deal with it. You deal with it. These are the types.
Is he wearing a bucket hat though?
No, I think he's twisted. Yeah, I don't know. He's got the. Yeah, he's a guy. He had Charlie Taylor was his neighbor. And because
he knows everything about football because of that.
Okay. He knows.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. And he's a big. Yeah, and nobody else can be a fan of the team besides him because he saw the way. Yeah, it's just one of them guys. It's one of them guys.
We all know him.
Yeah, we all know. Everybody's got that uncle at the party that's in the corner. Let's see. What's up, Ready Red, y'all? But Reed, I appreciate you, brother. This has been fun.
Of course, man. It's always fun. It's always fun having you on the show, and it was a pleasure to finally come on here. Wish we could have had Hulk come on too, but
I know, right? For the first time in his podcasting career, he wouldn't have been outnumbered.
I know.
He would have been in the majority.
Yeah, that's right. Then you guys would have had me feeling bad over here.
Right,
like,
exactly.
What's going on?
I've been like...
I'm kind of a chameleon. I can blend a little bit, but it was disappointing for him, but no, I'm just kidding. I know that they both wanted to be here. I was pumped. As soon as you told me the time. I was like, I am there, brother.
Yeah, so. Hey, y'all, you guys can catch up Mondays and Fridays, right? Y'all still do Mondays, and Fridays. Catch the Burgundy Zone. Our guys are doing some good things. They got some great guests on there, and they keep it lively. And you can find them on the Discord too. I think they've got all that information there, and you can follow them on Twitter. Good dudes. We have a great community. And let's see here. Roger's got one. Commanders will win the East if they try to lead the league. And this is Roger, old school.
Hey, I love that though.
Hey, he runs the wing tee and everything down there.
Hey, I love that.
And the QB is efficient,
man.
Yeah. That's key right there. What Roger said is the QB is efficient. Like I don't think he doesn't have to throw for 21 yards if you're playing ball control.
Right. And that's the other thing, though. Carson Wentz, to an extent, I mean, this thing has been very inconsistency, game to game, throw to throw, down to drive to drive. Can he be that efficient? I think is the thing. And I think he can in the right offense and with these playmakers, the way that this team is set up. I think that he's going to have a very good balance compared to what he's had in past years. Last year was a little bit too much running dominant. Years past in Philly, it was a little bit too much throwing dominant. I think this should be a good mixture. So I think we can finally find that sweet spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, burst the mix here. We'll have a good time. What's up, Billy? How you doing, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Appreciate Reed. Make sure you check those guys out.
Appreciate you.
Well, hey, I got the junior varsity version of that hat. So
do you?
I got the not the official fitted.
I was like, I got a big ass head, so I had to get the.
So you won one of those jerseys, is that right?
Yeah. They gave me the MLB's Instagram. They
nice.
Randomly they posted something about like the Nats new City Connect jerseys, and like, we love them so much, we're giving away a couple for free. Comment why you should get one. And I was like, I'm not gonna comment, I'm gonna message them. So I messaged them, and I was just like, they're sick. Some more than that, but then they were like, all right, I got you, send me your address, what size? And I was like, oh shit, all right, cool, hell yeah. So then they just sent me one for free, and I was like, there we go.
That's highly doubtful, buddy. That's highly doubtful, because if you gotta measure your
grasshopper, and I'm glad.
I don't forget anything.
I got more fanhood in my left nut than both of you young grasshoppers. First of all, I don't even have a left nut, so I don't know what. And that's very, very 2017 of you to assume that I do.
Right, exactly. Oh.
Right.
Like I said, if you got to tell us how much you have, you must not have any at all, y'all. Hey, it's all good, though. But, y'all, again, Mike Reed, Sanchez 405. Y'all know how we do. We appreciate you stopping by. Till next time, we make sure we keep that same damn energy. We outlast the bastards together, even if they got one in the left side or the right side. We're still outlast. Till the next time, y'all. Love, peace, and hell. Guess what? Somebody get my theme music. We out.
Hit it.
Yeah.